I'm a mother here in Chicago of four beautiful babies, and I just recently found out that Illinois became the latest state to approve or legalize medical marijuana. Now, other states like Colorado, they've already legalized it for everyone. And I grew up in the DARE era where no, drugs were just don't do it, don't go near them, don't go near the people who do them. And I personally, I don't want my kids smoking marijuana. So my question is, should I worry about the fact that they're legalizing marijuana because I just don't want them to smoke it?
Okay, well, Dr. Drew, you're an addiction specialist.
Yeah. So it's a complicated question, actually, believe it or not. But the reality is the first thing that I'm disturbed by is the idea that people think of drugs as being good drugs or bad drugs. Alcohol's a good drug, tobacco's a good drug, pot's a bad drug. That is a completely erroneous argument. Now, if it becomes legal for medical or recreational use in this country, your kids are at slightly higher risk of using it. That's a fact. You should worry if that's your concern, but I think it's more about educating your kids about the risk of drug and alcohol use, keeping them emotionally healthy, realizing they're going to try things, but try to have a zero tolerance policy. You try to tell them, we don't want you to do this. If they do it, have consequence. But if you start finding pot on them when they're a little older, and at 15, 16, then get help from somebody like me.
All right, Bakari.
I'm not as much concerned about the worry associated with your child doing marijuana as much as I am concerned about the worry that you should have if your child gets caught with marijuana and then has to get in our legal system with our antiquated and backdated laws. You can literally lose any right to financial aid. You have a mugshot for the rest of your life. You're looking at 30 days in jail, you got to pay a fine, and it follows you for the rest of your life.
That's
so I'm
crazy.
more concerned about your child being caught with a sugar packet full of marijuana on him in these schools that have no tolerance policies, and he's kicked out. Now he's in an alternative school. Better yet, just tell him don't do it.
Mom to mom, let me tell you, marijuana is a bad drug. I don't understand why, as a country, we're like, pot makes you groovy. Pot is okay. Let's legalize pot. It's, the bottom line is our kids don't need another mind-altering substance that's available to them. They don't need it.
But before you say this, I got to say this one thing. Even though I've been making light of it.
You should be worried about it, Mom.
You should be worried. I didn't say don't be worried. I said you should be. But the reality is even modest exposure to pot prior to the full development of the brain, which is in the early 20s, has shown to have persistent. Some studies, I know people will argue about this, but some studies show persistent anatomical brain changes. But in adults, same changes that then repair. But in kids and adolescents, they seem to be.
But there's something that I just cannot let go. When the war on drugs was horrible, Sonny. You just have to understand that there was nothing good that came out of the war on drugs. And I agree with.
I disagree with that. There's no question that there, I think, was a penalty issue, and I think that it disproportionately affected our African American and Latino communities.
Period.
That is a fact.
Period.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
Okay.
However, we are a nation of laws, and we need to have accountability for those people that are breaking laws, and we also need to understand that legalizing recreational marijuana is going to be a problem.
Medical marijuana.
I firmly believe that marijuana needs to be decriminalized. I think that you need to have a fine. It needs to be decriminalized. There needs to be a deterrent. And we need to follow the pattern set forth by a city like Washington, D.C.
Why is that?
I wish everything about the human relationship with substance would be looked at what it is a medical biological issue, not a legal issue so much. They will do things when they get hooked on things that are of a legal nature, and those consequences need to be brought to bear. But it's not about the relationship with the drugs. That's a medical.
I think that this country is heading towards the total legalization of marijuana. Now, will we have more marijuana users? Of course we will. If you don't think that smoking marijuana leads to other things, you're a complete idiot if you don't think that. Because it doesn't happen in all cases, but in some cases, it is just human nature. Oh, man, that felt good. Man, you got something make me feel better than that? It's the human nature. And the problem with mollies and meth and crack and heroin is once you put it in your body, man, it don't take long to get addicted. And now we have another problem.
Then why should we legalize it? I will tell you, I was just had a meeting with the Deputy Police Commissioner of Baltimore. I was asking him very difficult questions about why there aren't more African Americans on the police force in Baltimore. His response to me was the reason that we haven't been able to get a lot of the young men into the program is because if you use marijuana more than, I think, they have to take a lie detector test, more than 10 times, you are immediately disqualified from the police force. I was shocked that young African-American men are now unable to get jobs in law enforcement because of marijuana use. I mean, you're giving, it's so ridiculous.
But it's not the
but
marijuana
we've got to
usage
deal
as much
with
as that rule that he has, which is absurd.
Yeah.
So you blame the rule of law as opposed to the use of drugs?
Arbitrarily 10 times smoking pot.
So then
I mean,
everyone...
the three of us up here together, I mean, that's more than 10 times, I'm sure.
I think two of us are.
No.
You have,
I don't know about
Barack
Bakari.
Obama who smoked pot. You have Bill Clinton who smoked pot.
Yeah.
You have Congressman Ray Dell from down in Florida who got caught with a little bit of cocaine. I mean, your elected officials, I mean, are the same ones, and then they promulgate these laws, which are absurd. 10 times? Is that medically necessary? 10 times?
No. No.
Well,
So we should just have drug anarchy. People should just be able to get high.
Drug rationality, being rational about drugs and alcohol. That's all I'm saying.
Cannot believe you, Bakari.
I'm just trying to add a little rationale.
Bakari gonna run again. Don't worry, but Bakari gonna run again. We gonna win. Bakari. Hey, folks, welcome. Thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click here to subscribe to my channel. That way you won't miss a single hot new video, some really good stuff. And then I want you to click here to see more clips from the show right now.